Hi, and hello there, everyone! Today we're going to be talking about the Pokémon TCG Pocket tier list for 2024. The first year the game has been out. Today is December 31st, so we're going all the way up until today. All the decks that I have seen in my experience, not necessarily your experience, and not necessarily the meta experience or the professionals. I'm not sure that we really have many professionals right now, but just me. And I hope that my input is valuable to some of you. So we're gonna get into it. Okay, so we've got the first sort of half of the Pokemon that you see from the first set from Genetic Apex listed here, and the second set of them listed here. This is sort of, these are all the Pokemon we're going to talk about. There are no baby evolutions or stage 1s on here. We've got the basics, like basically the max possible evolution on a Pokemon is what I have represented here. And then every valuable Pokemon from Mythical Island as well. And then the first one that we talk about here is the grass type Pokemon. This is, again, my opinion. Please let me know yours in the comments below. And if you do like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I super appreciate it. I think it's really cute to look into my thing and be like, oh my gosh, 40 people watch this video. I'm so thankful. So thank you. We're going to start from the bottom. In the F for Forget It tier, we've got S obviously being the best, A, B, C, D, and then E is kind of and then F is for Forget About It. So, meaning, like, I've never seen these Pokemon in play ever. I've never seen Beedrill, Vileplume, Parasect, Victreebel, Venomoth, Tangela, Scyther, Whimsicott, Goat, and Shiinotic ever in any of the games I have played against, like, random matches or anything like that. Venusaur I have in the tier because I've never seen regular Venusaur. I mean, I might have seen him in like 1 or 2, and obviously he hits hard, so if you can ever get him, I guess, built, then sure, he's viable. But that being said, the other Venusaur is clearly better. People use that one more often. I rarely ever see this Venusaur actually be played. Pinsir and Dhelmise are in the D tier, not just because Dhelmise starts with the D. It's a coin flip mechanic. It rarely ever gets off, and when it does, it's cool. It's nice. They're nice to have in the deck. I think I have a Pinsir in one of my decks. I think that having the basic Pokemon with such low mana value of ability, very nice. And I don't know if you guys could notice or could tell, the Genetic Apex Pokemon are represented just by their picture, and then the Mythical Islands ones are represented by their actual whole card. That's just how it worked out. And you can kind of differentiate them. Then we're on to the C tier. Butterfree I've actually seen a good amount of play. The healing just from the ability is kind of really good and really strong in my opinion. So I think that one's been really common. I don't think it's overpowered. I think that it can be easily kind of taken care of, but I do see it frequently played enough that it is on the list. Same thing with regular Executor from the first set. Kind of sort of see him. It's kind of, he honestly could have gone down one, but I do see him enough. Lilligant is actually, I think, stronger than the other two, but I don't see her as often played. I think that her ability of is just way stronger than the other two. Her ability is stronger than Butterfree's and Executor's in my opinion. Moving on to the things that you guys see every single day. You see a Venusaur deck, you see an Executor deck, and clearly every single minute you'll see a Celebi deck. Celebi is in the S tier and Superior up there with her, they, Celebration Pokemon, whatever they are. And the Superior is really what's like carrying the team in any kind of grass deck. it's an automatic include. Celebi is just incredibly benefits from it. The new Executor actually benefits from it as well. But also having this Executor just with the 1 mana ability is also very useful. Like, these could be a viable deck just grouped together. And that is the grass type Pokemon. Now, as you can see, we've added the fire type Pokemon. Starting from the bottom, something I have never seen play is original Salazzle. And then moving up from there, we have new Salazzle. Kind of hasn't really seen play, but I have seen Salandite. I really like the idea of it. I wish it was played more often. I've seen the new Salandite in the new Weezing Scolipede deck, and I think that one's neat. The new Salazzle themselves, though, I haven't actually seen them. Centiskorch, we saw early in the year kind of being played a little bit, along with Charizard. Old Arcanine non-EX, I haven't really seen that much. I think I might have played one or two. Heatmore seems like an okay basic. I think there are better fire basic Pokemon. Moltres I've actually seen quite a bit more. I think that just the legendary birds in general have sort of had a presence. I think the starter Pokemon and the legendary birds pretty much have their EX significantly overpowered and very played. And then you have the sort of non-EX version that does show up sometimes. Moving on from there, we have the new Volcarona. I want to see more of it. I see some of it. I know people are trying to get it to be cool and good. When you have a Moltres EX out powering up your bench and stuff, I think it's helpful. Old Magmar, I'm keeping it out there because it did such a good job in the Blaine decks before the new set dropped, and I think it's still playable. New Flareon has seen more and more play recently, kind of actually with the new Eevee, and Druddigon. So Flareon's making a show of itself lately. Old Rapidash is on here just because Blaine makes it relatively viable for just a stage 1. New Rapidash is on here because the coin flippiness, I have it as a B because coin flips are so sketchy, but the damage it could output is enough to sort of make it a B in my mind. All of these are Blaine related things, right? Like Ninetales, Rapidash, Magmar, all of those very Blaine heavy mechanics, and they thrive. And I've seen, I have a Blaine deck now. I mean, I had a Blaine deck since the beginning, and it's changed only a little bit. These are all still very good cards in that deck. Arcanine EX, again, him and Charizard all powered up by Moltres, super heavy hitters. I think that Charizard is just significantly better than Arcanine EX, and that's why he is one higher. And then Moltres, obviously the engine, at an S tier. You'll see that they're very, very common S tier items or Pokemon that you'll see up here. You'll be like, yeah, I know that's an S tier. Okay, moving on to water type. Okay, water type Pokemon. We've got Starmie EX and Greninja at the top. I consider these S tier over Articuno and Gyarados for several reasons. Starmie has 2 mana to do 90 damage. That is insane. I love 2 mana for 70 damage, so 2 mana for 90 damage is just incredible. And the Zero Retreat Cost makes it the absolute best water Pokemon in the game. Greninja is phenomenal because he doesn't need to be your active Pokemon to just sort of ping something for 20. That is amazing. Having that ability, it is on par with Superior's ability, where you can double your green energy, and Moltres' ability, where you can use that to sort of mana up. It's the Gardevoir. It's the, I know it doesn't do mana, but just having that passive ability to be able to go pew 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 from the bench or whatever, the shurikens, just incredibly strong. It really, the strategy of the game is a lot easier when you have Greninja on your side. Articuno EX I have as an A and not an S because I don't play it. So, I have played against it plenty of times. I know that there's the Articuno trainer deck or whatever, but I don't use it very often. Water decks in general are hard to pilot. You have to rely on Misty, and Misty is a coin flip, and if you don't get Misty, then you better have a Starmie in your deck because that's the only affordable water move to deal damage. So Articuno is, I don't know, it's an A because a lot of people play it, and it is good, and it does deal good damage. I just don't. I think that there are better and more fun options. I just realized I did not include any of the promotional cards in this list, so I'm gonna throw Lapras in here as a B. I'll sort of superimpose its picture on top of this. Also, I'm gonna move my photo so you guys can actually see more. Here we go. Now you can actually see the rest of the list. Okay. So moving on, we're gonna have Lapras right here. Lapras is a B because I play Lapras. I think Lapras is one of the funnest decks, dealing a consistent 80 damage while healing itself is a very nice sort of like wall. And I don't know, I've succeeded with it. I think the people don't really plan for it, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. It's a fun card. It was also like one of the first decks I built outside of the Onyx one. Then you have the new Vaporeon. I have it as a B because it is nice to be able to rearrange your energy, but it's specifically to your active Pokemon, and it's a little complicated. So I guess it's a little too hard to pull off, maybe? I don't know. I'm sure that some of you are going to be like, nah, it's really easy. Now, Golduck I have in here because, again, I love me 2 mana for 70 damage. I love the quick builds, the quick fights. Blastoise is in here because I have played against a Blastoise. He shows up almost as often as new Gyarados, maybe a little bit less. I don't play him myself. I don't think he's very fun. Taking 3, it's a stage 2, so like 3 evolutions to get there is a lot. Omastar, I have on here because I play him, and he goes in my Lapras deck, and he says you can't attack, and I'm gonna hit you for 70. I love 70 damage. I do. I can usually budget around it pretty much every time. And then the ability to have them not attack afterwards is very nice. Baby Articuno is in here because the paralysis is pretty good. They're on a C level though because I don't see them played very much, and it's sort of like a niche. You have to like it in order to have it played well. Poliwrath is kind of up there as well. The counter attack is a really nice ability, but I rarely see it played. I've actually seen regular Starmie played a little bit more lately. I'm not super sure why. I don't know if it's because that person didn't have a Starmie EX or what, but he's been showing up a bit. Bruxus also shows up in some decks. Frostmoth I love because you can put Pokemon to sleep. Definitely had some play there. These guys down here, it just kind of gets and then there's everybody down here. I'm not even going to list them who doesn't even show up and play. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tentacruel is the coolest one down here because poison. So there you go. Moving on, we've got our electric Pokemon, the bane of some of ours existence. Pikachu EX, obviously at the top in S tier. If it's not Pikachu, it's rarely out in being played as an electric deck, which is why there's no A electric Pokemon. There's B electric Pokemon. Raichu shows up and sometimes takes over, which I've seen Raichu do pretty well. I think Raichu is way more interesting to build. It's not an EX, and it's not just, hey, I win the game Pikachu. Zapdos EX, I notice, has been a very good wall and also sort of secondary option to your Pikachus because you have that 1 mana ability where you can deal just a little bit of damage, Peck. I think that that's incredibly useful to have on your Pokemon. Just being able to have at least an ability with 1 mana seems really useful. It is sketchy though because it is an EX Pokemon, so if you do get it eliminated, then you're kind of a little bit further behind than you like. Those who play Pikachu also have Zebstrika in their deck. I rarely see Zebstrika do anything because Pikachu is sort of like the protagonist in every one of these decks. Jolteon, Zapdos, again, they sometimes show up in Pikachu decks. Same thing with these ones down here. I think Magneton is way more interesting, and I like to run him just in case I want to switch out my Pikachu if I do ever play a Pikachu deck, which is rare. Electric is just not interesting to me. Yeah, I don't know. That's just eh. Honestly, E for electric, E for eh. But I mean, people play it because it does work. Moving on. We have got Ew2. It's pretty much 90% of psychic decks are Ew. We've got Gardevoir at the tippy top in S tier because Gardevoir is probably the best card in Pokemon at all. It's either that or Superior, I guess. I don't know. Gardevoir, Superior, Moltres, those cards help build whoever your favorite big bad is at the time. It helps you build a Celebi, helps you build Executor, helps you build Arcanine, Charizard, Gyarados. Sorry, not Gyarados. Mewtwo. I looked at Gyarados. It helps you build up those big heavy hitters, and without them, those heavy hitters are significantly worse. I think that Gardevoir is probably the best card. It takes 3. Gardevoir and Superior take 3 to build up in order to sort of start your engine going. So you do take a few turns to get there. Mewtwo is nice because you only need 2. He kind of builds himself up, so you get to hit at least once before you keep adding more to him, more mana to him. Those are the guys you see all the time. You also see the new Mew all the time. I think, again, people are just trying to sort of place where Mew is going to go in a deck in general. I haven't really found a home for Mew. I think right now it's in my Mewtwo deck because I'm kind of doing what other people are doing. Like, where's this card gonna go? Although it is nice, I have seen a lot of people genome hack Charizard's ability, Crimson Storm, which is amazing to see. I'm more proud of them for doing it than anything else. Sigilyph is in there because draw is strong. Alakazam is in there because actually I have seen him kind of sugar stomp some people pretty hard. The 3 mana ability to deal damage equal to the amount of mana on your things has been really nice and strong against like Superior, or Mewtwo decks, or even Moltres decks, because the mana that they build up, it's kind of like a counter to those things. Not totally a counter, but kind of a counter. I think it's really strong. I put it up there with the bees. Then you've got Baby Mewtwo, whose kind of only job is to be a wall. If you can get mana on him, cool, you do some damage, but he's not as useful as Mewtwo EX. Jinx is kind of like the same thing that Alakazam does. Damage based on the mana. Gengars are cool. They're so cool. I really wish they were better. They both stop you from playing supporter cards, which with the new Leaf and a lot of other supporters sort of taking the head there, it's cool. One does 100 damage, the EX one does 100 damage, and it takes 3 mana to get there, so it's kind of slow going. It's a stage 2. It's hard. We want it to be better. We all want it to be better, and we all love him because he's one of the coolest artists. I don't know if you can see my Haunter tattoo through this shirt. He's in there. I love me. I love me a Haunter as well. So yeah, I do wish it was better. But it is cool, and it gets to stay up in the D range because it is cool. Hypno, also cool because he's got the ability to put things asleep from the bench, which we all love. Behem is in here because of the new Pidgeot, and some other cool stuff. Like, kind of sort of counters Pikachu, doesn't really counter Pikachu, but it really works with Pikachu, dealing damage based on the number of benched Pokemon you have, and with the new Poke-Flute, it's kind of quirky. It's a weird build, it's a quirky build, but I am all for it. I love it. I am in big support, and that's why he is a D and not an eh, because I've seen some people who, I have not seen many people play him, just me. Then we've got the Ehs in Psychic, and Slurpuff and Florges are actually on here because they hit hard. Like, they're mean. I don't know if you guys played the whatchamacallits, the solo missions. If you have played the solo missions, you know that Slurpuff and Florges hit hard. It's mean. I don't know. They're meaner than I thought they would be. So they're in the eh. And then there's all of the forget about it's down on the bottom. And we're going to forget about them right now. As we move on to the fighting type Pokemon or earth type Pokemon. I feel like it's less fighting and more ground, earth, and rock Pokemon, or ground and rock. Words are hard. I'm so ready for the new year. Okay, so the highest level I could give any of the fighting Pokemon was Golem. Now, I tried to put Sandslash up there, but I could feel the internet yelling at me before I did that, so I held back a little bit. Golem is up here because the new Golem does a good amount of damage, is kind of a really good wall. You can build it up with a Brock, so it doesn't feel like it's too expensive. And the whole time you're doing that, you can have sort of Dredagon or someone else sort of blocking the way while you build him up. And once he's up, it's pretty cool. So he's up there in the A tier. We've got Sandslash, Hitmonlee, and Marshadow in the B tier. Sandslash is my boy. My goodest little babyest boy. He always is so reliable for me. 70 damage, 2 mana, stage 1. He's awesome. I highly recommend a good Sandslash. Hitmonlee is Sneaky Lee. He is super nice to have out because he can deal damage to the benched Pokemon, so he could hit Serperior, Greninja, Gardevoir while they are all chilling back trying to build up. Or you can sort of start knocking down Pokemon the same way Greninja does to get them into KO range. Sort of force your opponent into that sort of locked position. Marshadow's out here because I've seen a lot of play with it. I know it's a really cool looking card. I haven't gotten to totally experiment with it myself. But I have heard good things. I have seen good things. I have been Marshadowed. So it is up there in the higher tier because I see it more often than the other ones. We've put both Machamps in the C tier because having Machop evolve into Machoke, evolve into Machamp, and have that 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana growth from a stage 2 Pokemon is I think what most of the Pokemon should be doing. Just having that 1 mana ability, 2 mana ability, 3 mana ability growth. I think that is just, it's reliable. You know what I mean? Like you land your mana every turn and you get to do something with it. You get your health upgrade, you get your damage upgrade, and I think that both of these guys profit. I would honestly put Machamp EX a little bit lower than regular Machamp, just because EX Pokemon are more of a detriment to you than they are a boon, I think. Lately, they hit hard, but like they cost 2 points. So like if you lose one, you almost lose completely. It's risky, I guess is all I'm saying. We have Old Primate on here. He is quirky, and I think he's fun because of that. He likes to have damage on himself to deal more damage. With the promotional Mankey, you can do so. I have Onyx on here because I love him. He is in my Sandslash deck, and with Brock, he's kind of the same thing as Sandslash, and You can't tell me he's worse than that. I love him, and I'm keeping him. Because 70 damage. I know that 3 mana for 70 damage move is not great, but I love him. And it's funny because, like, I never even really cared for these Pokemon in the first place, because I've never been, like, a fighting type or rock type or ground type lover of Pokemon, but in Pokemon TCG Pocket, it was my first deck, and I am now biased. Marowak EX is in here because if you can flip heads correctly, then ow. We have a new Primeape in here as well because it's 1 mana, and that's kind of nice to hit relatively hard for 1 mana. It has play. It has been seen, so it is in the D range. We have Ez down here. I put the new Aerodactyl down here, and that might be controversial. He's kind of meh. His ability is you can't let the active Pokemon that you're going against evolve. But, like, most of the evolving is done on the bench. So, and he does, like, 80 damage, which is fine. I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. Maybe you could convince me in the comments on why Aerodactyl should be higher. Golem and Dodrio, we don't really see them played that much. We have seen them played before Mythical Island came out. Dodrio is interesting. I like his sort of quirkiness. And then the Forget About It's are present. We're moving past them. We're going to forget about them and move on. 2. Dark. We're on Dark now. Weezing, Muck, Scolipede, Arbok all have seen play. Weezing is the best Dark type Pokemon by far. He has your sort of passive poison ability, and Muck is on there as well because you have your Kogas present. They can pull back your Weezing or your Muck, which is very, very strong. Muck hits kind of hard if you do actually get him out and use him efficiently. Scolipede, I love. He hits hard. I've been playing the Weezing Scolipede deck. Super duper fun. Highly recommend. Arbok is cool, but he's kind of dying out. I like the ability to sort of stop people from retreating, but there's just better dark cards now. You only have a 20 card deck. You can only put so many Pokemon in him. Golbat I've seen play. I don't know why. I think it's just because he's got a 1 mana ability, and I think that that's enough to have him in a deck. Having cheap mana is enough, I think, and I would agree. And then down here in the Forget Abouts, we have the Nido lines and the new Leopard and Weezing. And onto the combo of Metal and Dragon. I was looking through the videos just now while I was posting them, or editing it, and I realized that we just skipped this section. I guess I wasn't recording, so we're going to talk about it now, but to you it's going to look normal, but to me it is not normal. So, real quick, the metal lines, there's only 3 metal Pokemon. You've got Mawile, Bisharp, and Melmetal. You have the baby versions of those things also, but I never moved this. You should be able to hear me a little bit better now. Oh my gosh, I am all over the place. Okay. Sorry guys. We've got the Mawile and Bisharp in the Forget About It because I never see them. I've got Melmetal as a C because I love him. He's an incredible wall. He hits really hard when you do get him to be built up. Him baby evolution ramps him a little bit. And then addressing the Dragon type Pokemon, I have seen Dragonite built many different ways. People love building him. He's very interesting to build. I have built him several different ways as well. There's the Zapdos Articuno Dragonite deck. There's the Druddigon Dragonite deck. There's, I think Dragonite with Greninja and Hitmonlee would be kind of cool. The sort of like knock down the back Pokemon a little bit so that when you do use your ultimate ability that it actually one-shots, which would be pretty cool. And then Dredagon has just been sort of like a surprisingly good Pokemon. I think all of us anticipated it to be not very good when it came out, and then now we use it in almost every deck. We use it as a wall. It's a perfect wall. I have seen some people build it into a offensive dude also, using Flareon and a few others. He's very interesting. I think that he kind of took us all by surprise and is actually one of the best cards that came out in Mythical Island. So yeah, that's Steel and Dragon. And then moving on to the last one, the normal type Pokemon. Now, the best normal type Pokemon in all of TCG Pocket is Farfetch'd, by far. Bad joke. Still funny, just a bad joke. He is a basic Pokemon with 60 health, which is kind of fine. And he deals 40 damage for only one little measly amount of mana. I love that about him. I think that he's really good. I think that when Mythical Island came out, he kind of got taken aback a bit. I haven't seen him played nearly as much since that set dropped, but I do think that he's just a solid basic dude. Turn 1, he's like really nice to have out. I have the Pidgeots on here because I like them personally. I think that they're C's because the regular Pidgeot has the Sabrina ability just on him, to the drive off ability to sort of switch your opponent's bench Pokemon in as the active Pokemon. I think is really strong. That comboed with the Aerodactyl I think is even more hilarious because you're like, no, give me that Pokemon and then also send it in your deck because I don't want to see it anymore. It's really funny to see happen. I have made a previous video about the Pidgeots, and I hope you go and check it out. Pidgeot EX, 3 mana is hard to get to, but once it does a decent amount of damage because it's based on the number of Pokemon on your opponent's bench, very similar to Behem, whatever his name is. And then we have Wigglytuff in the D, unfortunately. I love Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff is one of my favorite Pokemon Pocket cards. I think it's maybe because it was one of my first coolest ones. It was all pink and fancier. I love the 80 damage. I love that it puts something to sleep, and I used to have one with a Weezing deck, but it hasn't seen much play lately. He's kind of fading away. I've seen new Taurus played a lot. He's kind of hard to build up because of the 3 mana thing, but once he is built up, he deals more damage to your EX Pokemon, so if you're playing Pikachu or Celebi, it's kind of nice to have out. Chatot is really cool because you can draw. I've seen it do some crazy stuff. When I play it, it does nothing. When an opponent plays it, it does everything. Lickitung, Kangaskhan, and Snorlax are on here because, and Aerodactyl, but I just like Aerodactyl. Because I've seen them played, they have been used as walls. Kangaskhan kind of gets able to hit with 1 mana, which is kind of cool. Lickitung can deal a lot of damage, or it cannot. And more than anything, it usually does not do damage. Words are hard to do. And then you move on to the rest of the normal Pokemon, and those guys are kind of not seen in the game at all. So, yeah. Moving on. And moving on to the non-Pokemon aspect of the video, we have the items and supporter cards. This is a combination of Genetic Apex and also Mythical Island, so there's no really differentiating, you just gotta know the difference. We will start, I guess, at the S category. These are cards that I see in every single deck. Pokeball goes in every deck. So does Professor's Research. I don't know why it's not on here. I just realized Professor's Research is not on here. I'll put it on there. Professor's Research. Freaking S tier. Goes in every single deck. Draw cards. It's amazing. Sabrina. I think that she's also a very strong card. It's sort of like your control, your counterspell, your something like that. Your interaction in the deck. Leaf, amazing also because it's X speed but for 2, amazing. Moving on to the S, you have X-Speed in there, obviously, and then you have the sort of 4 supporters that care about the deck type. If you're playing a water Pokemon deck, you have to have Misty. If you're playing grass Pokemon, you have to have Erica. If you're playing any of those 3 Pokemon, you have to put Blaine in. If you're playing either of those 2 Pokemon, you have to put Koga in. If you're playing a Psychic deck at all, put Mythical Slab in. It's like if you're playing this deck, this thing goes in it. Period. You don't usually question it. In the B category, we have Potions, Giovanni's. Those 2 cards can sort of be swapped in and out of decks. It's sort of like, if you have room, yeah, put them in. If you care about this Pokemon not dying, put it in. If you care about that 10 extra damage, put it in. It's like, if you do, then yeah, do it. Brock is in here because so few people actually play those cards, and you're only getting 1 energy, whereas like Misty is like, here, take a bunch of energy. So he's good, but kind of only a little bit good. Not as good, a little bit good. Budding Expeditioner is like Koga, but only from you, so you only got 1 Pokemon. That's why it's in the B. Surge I put in the C because I rarely see him played. We rarely see Raichu played. And also you're kind of only moving a Pokemon energy. You're not generating new energy. You're not like ramping. You're just reorganizing. Red card. A controversial card in my opinion. I don't like it. I don't play it. I think it usually only ever helps your opponents, and that is why it is a D. Some people do play it. That is why it's a D. Otherwise I would have put it in the forget it category, but some people play it, so it's a D. Pokemon Flute, I thought was going to be a terrible card, but because of the new Pidgeot and Behem, it is playable, so it is a D. Hand Scope, I've never seen played, but if you're playing a red card, I guess you play Hand Scope. I don't know. It's only 20 cards in an opponent's deck, so I feel like you can guess a lot better than you need to spend a slot in your 20 card deck for it. Blue, I've never needed it, and I think I've seen it played less than like red card or anything else lately, so I don't know. Convince me about blue, you guys. Tell me your thoughts on blue, because I think that it's kind of a waste of a space. And then Pokedex, never seen played. Never ever even considered it. So that is everything. So I wanted to share this with you guys, share my New Year's opinion. I hope that next year we see some cooler sets come out. Hopefully we see some more metal Pokemon, some more dragon Pokemon. Those are things I want to see. I want Gengar to be better, but I also do want to see different types of Pokemon from different regions. We have a lot of Kanto Pokemon right now. It'd be cool to sort of shake that up. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to in the next year when it comes to Pokemon TCG Pocket. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you guys next year. Bye!